I had intended to do a video on Somalia a while ago. I'm just going to talk about a news story from Somalia. The biggest thing I know about Somalia is A, it's one of the most fragile countries, if not the most fragile in the world, and has a lot of serious issues. But B, it's piracy. Piracy, especially here in the Gulf of Aden, which is, of course, part of the Red Sea, just the end of the Red Sea, and part of the Suez Canal route, where a lot of the world's, and I mean a lot of the world's cargo gets sent through because boat transport is a lot cheaper than all other kinds of transport, plane being one of the more expensive, rail and car being quite expensive, all compared to boat by sea. It's the best way of transporting anything, and that's why it's a very big deal when pirates start to interfere with things that are being sent through this region. What we've had lately is Somali pirates freeing a Bangladesh flagged vessel after a £5 million-ish pound or dollar ransom has been paid, and that number hasn't been confirmed, but that's what the articles are suggesting. Piracy has been a big issue. In this case, some suggesting from the World Bank costing 8 billion a year. In particular, in this region, there were numbers highlighted which I came across of 50 million per year in ransoms being paid, $53 million specifically. So, in general, the the issues of piracy have been happening more lately. There's been kind of a rebound. Now, we did talk about the Houthis from Yemen attacking stuff in kind of a protest against the Israeli situation with Gaza. But in general, this is kind of concept that the US is not patrolling the oceans as much. There's kind of a withdrawal of that now. I don't know too much about the actual whereabouts of US ships, but I will quickly talk about the idea that I've been hearing from some analysts, and that is the idea that the US is withdrawing a bit from the world's oceans. They're not interested in being kind of the patrolling force as much as they used to be, and that may have ramifications for world trade. Now, I've only heard this story for the first time in the last couple of months. I don't know if this story gets said every year by somebody, if it's something that keeps getting said again every single year. But there are a lot of articles out there when you Google kind of the US's role in the world, that may be something that is on the decline. And the questions are why? Well, at the moment, a lot of this trade here benefits China specifically. China, of course, exports so many, quite good products, amazing products around the entire world, especially to Europe and basically every nation you can think of. And the US has been kind of guaranteeing the safety of that to a degree. Now, of course, the US, I'm sure, would argue they prefer to be the US guaranteeing Chinese safety than Chinese guaranteeing US safety in trade. But then that's when some analysts say that the US, in general, is moving to a more protectionist and more kind of self-sufficient situation. They're now self-sufficient in oil, for example, and energy. So the question is, are they really interested in that world system being as globalized as it used to be? That's kind of the concept. When we bring it back to Somalia specifically, Somalia, there's been loads of incidents when you Google the Somalian piracy for years and years. There's been kind of ebbs, ups, and downs of it. In fact, things had gotten kind of better in recent decades. Here is a map on Wikipedia. This is Madagascar, that is Somalia up there, and green is the routes of ships going basically on a route from the south of Africa to basically just north here, probably to Saudi Arabia, to the oil that they're getting from their oil tankers, probably in particular. And this is a route avoiding Somalia. You can see Somalia is up there. The route's very much going up there to avoid Somalia, maybe going left there then and around. Probably more than likely, probably going up to Saudi Arabia. And we look through the years, that's 2009, 2007. And when we come all the way to 2014, we can see now boats or ships are much happier to actually go right up to Somalia. They don't probably fear the piracy quite as much. So piracy was becoming less of an issue. That's what this map would suggest. But there has been a rebound in piracy. And I guess the Houthis have kind of shown that they can do quite a lot of damage and a lot of disruption to those routes in general for boats. The other thing is when we have any kind of issues to maritime shipping, insurance rates go up a lot for those boats that are basically being used. If there is a risk of piracy, insurance is going to go up as well. So you can imagine that shipping costs would get more expensive in general. Now, this concept that the US don't care so much about maritime trade as they used to is also a little bit flawed in my opinion, because, for example, when the Ever Given boat got stuck in the Suez Canal, that had some impacts on US supply chains, with a lot of ships getting stuck outside the Californian ports of Los Angeles and places like that. So it did have a knock-on effect to the US as well. It wasn't purely something that was going to be annoying for China and for Europe, for example. Yeah. In general, I guess that's all I really wanted to talk about, was just to highlight the fact that that boat has been now released by the pirates, and the fact that piracy is still a thing in the modern world. Now, we have heard of pirates as well in the Straits of Malacca over here. It isn't an uncommon thing. Now, normally these pirates used to attack small boats. Now they were also attacking bigger tankers, bigger boats in general. The question is if there really is any truth to the US withdrawing its kind of naval presence in the world, if there is any substance to that, then this sort of stuff will increase more than likely because it is a good source of income, a good source of income for the Somalians to a degree. Piracy was actually bringing kind of a boom to the local, a boom is probably a bit of a strong term, but it was bringing in revenues into local shops because if pirates have got money, have these big ransoms, of course, there's going to be a source of income for the economy. In a country that doesn't do very much, in a country that is ravaged by so many issues over the years, they've had war and famine and just endless amounts of problems. So yeah, I guess it's something just to keep an eye on and to be aware of.